one of the things that drives me is, I'm the creator of my own path, right? No one's going to do it for me. No one's going to, tell me, hey, you're sitting in the corner, come this way. I have to do it myself.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Worldwide. Thank you so much for being here, for tuning in, and for always sharing the episodes and helping to grow this network. We appreciate you. Well, it's a new week, and we have another guest with an amazing story and some really helpful advice for you. So let's get right to it. Today's topic, it's the 3 P's, and they're powerful. It's passion, purpose, and paying it forward. My special guest embodies 3 Ps. Joining me on the show is Sonia Zeledon. Sonia is a global legal executive. She's a strategic board and business advisor. She's been a corporate lawyer for 15 plus years, and she's currently general counsel for ethics, compliance, and privacy at Hershey's Corporation. I could say a lot about Sonia, but I think it's better that she shares her story and advice with you. Sonia, welcome. Welcome to Women Worldwide.
A pleasure. So happy to be here.
Yes, well, I'm super happy to have you here too. Mentioned Hershey's, that's a lot of chocolate and candy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I used to have way back in the day, Hershey's was a client of my agency. And whenever we went there, even though there would be the chocolate, there was also other candy right at the front desk. When we walked in, you could just take handfuls as much as you wanted. So much fun.
Yeah, no, it's the best. And when you start at the company, they always joke that there's the first year 15, because you put on weight because there's candy everywhere and delicious.
Is that like the college 10 or something, right? Yeah. When you go away to school. So Sonia, how did you sort of get on this career path to becoming a lawyer, finding your ways to what you're doing, ethics, compliance, and all that you do?
Yeah. Well, I didn't intend to be a lawyer at all. Like I studied economics and math. I started with a double degree from MIT and Wellesley, so I really wanted the more quantitative path, but, something happened along the way that I didn't want to go to school for 10 years and get a PhD program. And so I decided to go to law school, to come home closer to family, go to law school. And then I never looked back. And my first job, legal job, was at Skadden Arps. And because I had, such quantitative background, what seemed natural was securities work. I did securities. And then I got pulled into doing a lot of securities investigation, securities fraud, books and records, SEC. And around that time, which was like in the mid, 2005, 2006 timeframe, there was a lot of internal investigations going on. And I was multicultural, multilingual. I traveled well, apparently. And I went, lived in Germany 2 years, doing a big securities fraud investigation. It's all, all that, it's all public now. And that really got me really interested in regulatory and compliance, right? Because there were so many compliance misses. That case, there were 2 cases. So those 2 cases lasted, several years. It was a lot of my career at Skadden, and one of the things that the government came up with, all the remedial actions and compliance work, and it was, it was OFAC, it was SEC, it was DOJ, it was Oil for Food, it was all of those things. And in privacy weaved in all of that as we're trying to do, document retention and document holds and getting data from one country to the next. So all that kind of came together in those years. And I really found a passion for compliance, which on a broader scale, right? It's all regulatory related and it's really natural, the compliance and privacy and all those sort of expert controls and all that kind of stuff.
That's really interesting. Did you find that you were one of the few women in the room, or were you the only woman, and were you the only woman of color in the room?
Definitely, from the perspective of a white shoe firm, which I owe my entire career for because that's how to be a lawyer. Oftentimes I was one of the very few women that was either an associate or someone leading a team, because I ended up through the years, right, leading segments of teams and all that. And typically I was the only woman or one of the only women, and always the only woman of color. When I was at the law firm in DC back in the day, I was the only Latina. There was like a handful of other Black and Asian. So being the only one in the room was just the norm, right?
Right.
And it kind of transcends into my career because the stats are really very sad. I think from Latina women, we represent 1% of the legal community,
Oh,
and
my.
about less than 1% of general counsels. So the numbers are they can just always the fact that I'm usually the only one in the room that looks like me.
Well, that's such a small percentage. How do you think, I lined up this episode with the whole passion and purpose, and we'll get to the pay it forward part because I know that you do a lot. Where does your passion and purpose come in? Was there a time where, because you were the only woman, you ever felt like, oh, why am I doing this? Or how can I keep this going? Talk to me about passion and purpose.
Yeah, no, it's actually the opposite. Because I'm the woman, right? There's more of a need for people like me to be there, right? To be, not to quote Hamilton, right? To be in the place where it happens, right? And that's where, because I'm the only one that looks like me. It makes it more of a point to be there, right? Especially, when I pivoted into the securities fraud, white collar SEC investigations, it was very striking the fact that it was mostly dominated by men, and there wasn't other voices in there to have those conversations. And even more dramatic is that we're having these multi-country, global, cases with people who either have never left the country, the US, don't speak another language, or were not sensitive to the differences of cultures and customs and things that kind of play into a lot of that stuff. So in those particular times, I was like, no, I need to be here. I need to give a voice to myself, to my community, and to kind of pave the path for others.
Absolutely, that representation, being there.
So important.
Yeah, it is. What do you say to other women in terms of making sure they keep their passion up, powering up their own voices? What does that take?
I think a lot of the stuff you have to kind of push in the back a lot of the negativity that you hear externally, because you're going to hear it all the time, and you just have to push it. And one of the things that drives me is, I'm the creator of my own path, right? No one's going to do it for me. No one's going to, tell me, hey, you're sitting in the corner, come this way. I have to do it myself. And it's kind of like a calling, because if I don't do it and open the path for others, then we're never going to move the needle forward. But you have to really look within yourself and continue to tell yourself, no, this is worth it. This is where I need to be. This is where I have to go. And kind of ignore all the noise that you're going to get from your peers, from externals, from everything. Because if not, it's really crippling.
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about change. So here you are, creator of your own path. You have to be ready and embracing things that will change and be flexible. And I love that you said it's a calling, because it really is. And you do a lot of self-talk. I do a lot of self-talk because sometimes the talk around us is so counterproductive to what you want to accomplish. What do you love to do the most, whether it's within the Hershey's company or some of the volunteer work, which gets into the whole pay it forward, or the way you mentor? What's your favorite part?
My favorite thing in the whole world is to mentor. It's my passion. I mentor inside the company. I mentor outside. I mentor all different kinds of people. It doesn't always have to be women or women of color, but I think mentorship is critical to advance, differences in thought, to kind of help the next generation, right? To achieve and to be better than. When I mentor, when I have several mentees, I want them to be better than me, right? I want them to succeed. I want them to shine, and it's so rewarding to see that come to fruition, right? When at least my mentees are long term a lot of the time, and to kind of see that blossom and have them shine and succeed. There's not, and you learn so much from them as well. So your
Reverse
mentees often
mentoring.
then turn and become your mentors.
Absolutely.
Yes.
What are you seeing from younger millennials and even Gen Z, if you're mentoring any Gen Zers?
I think they are going to be, they're really going to be the catalyst of change in how we work and how we live. I think they are unapologetic about what they want, and some of that it's youth, right? But I think things are changing, and I think it may be for the better, right? I think they want a work-life balance. I think they want more parity, right, in compensation and in gender diversity and all that kind of stuff. And I hope that they achieve it.
Me too.
There's a lot less. Well, this is just the way things are. They question that, like, why does it? I feel like they're very similar to the children of the 60s. I know they think they're completely unique, and like no other generation is like them, but they're coming at a very difficult period of time in the US. They're coming from very difficult changes in how we live and the economy and all that, and it kind of feels like it's very similar to what was going on in the 60s from what I read.
Absolutely. Sonia, I'm going to ask you to hold your thoughts just for a moment. We're going to shift our focus over to the sponsor of today's episode, which is the Empowered Women event and its founder, Susan Freeman. And you just happen to be one of the speakers at the event this year. And I want to point out to everybody that the Empowered Women event in 2021 is on April 6th, 7th, and 8th. I spoke at this event in person when we were actually having in-person events. And it was one of the greatest opportunities to hear so many inspirational stories from women who all took the stage, sort of TEDx style. And even today, I'm still in touch with about 10 people from that event, which really says great networking. So Sonia, if you would, maybe share what you're looking forward to and also what your topic is.
I'm super excited about this event. The topics are empowerment in women. What could be better than having these really astounding women get up on stage? And I guess it'll be in a virtual world this time, but to kind of share their wisdom and their thoughts. That I'm really looking forward to hearing everyone's talks. Mine is about being the heroine of your own story. So kind of going into charting your own path, overcoming obstacles, and owning your life and being your own heroine.
That's awesome. Well, I thank you for sharing your thoughts and your topic, and just want to encourage everybody to find out more about the Empowered Women event in April. It's the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th of 2021. And I have a website. I'm going to say it, but it'll be in the show notes and it'll be in the YouTube description if you're watching this show. You can go to freemanmeansbusiness.com/events/spring 2021 to find out more. Okay, Sonia, let's dive back into our discussion. So we've covered a lot of ground. We were talking about the mentoring and reverse mentoring, and you were touching on a little bit about millennials and Gen Z. So in everything that you're doing, and I love that you're mentoring, we always hope that our mentees have these moments. I mean, there's a lot of choices that you make and what I call mini moments along the way, but there are these big aha moments that sometimes something just really clicks. And I was wondering if along your path and through maybe your mentors, wherever you've been, if you've had any big aha moments, and perhaps you might share one of those learning moments.
That's really interesting because I was thinking something similar the other day. There was I think after I left the law firm and was trying to find mentors that kind of would help me navigate the in-house world of my own head, right? And creating my own obstacles when it came to asking for what I wanted and making a plan of where I wanted to be, taking it into action, and then they would hold me accountable for it. And then 2 years down the line, and I'm looking around, I'm like, wait, I'm applying this now, right? I am not letting myself down. I'm not holding back. I'm asking for what I want. I'm asking for my timeline. And that was actually maybe like 2 years ago, was like maybe that would be the aha moment when I looked around, I was like, I did exactly what I wanted to do. I asked for what I wanted. I came in, and it doesn't happen overnight. I'm unapologetically me. And I think some of that has to do with age too, right? But those two things came together a few years ago.
Well, all of this speaks to when you can put it out there and you can do this for yourself and be the change and really show others, and even going back to that representation, it takes courage. You have to have courage. So what do you think, what does courage mean to you? And what do you want to share with others about being courageous?
Courage, but nothing changes if you don't, move and kind of be comfortable with being a little bit fearful, because courage kind of like stems out of being fearful, right? Being afraid. Fear and courage kind of come together, and you're afraid like how people are going to react, how people are going to say, how that's going to reflect on me, how that's going to do this and how it's going to affect me. And you have to kind of start getting comfortable with that fear and say that it's okay. What's the worst that can happen? And then you'll get that courage to change and to kind of path forward, like, or things that are sometimes looked at and said, I need to stop being afraid of that and just own it. And then it was received fine, right? Sometimes the fear is all in our head.
That is true. Sometimes fear is just in our head. And it's really interesting because if we could just get out of our own heads and create some space, we can move forward a lot easily. What about, there must be some stress involved with what you do on a daily basis. And no matter how much courage you have, there's always things, right, that happen in a day. How do you handle stress? I mean, how do you handle stress as a lawyer, let alone trying to help your mentees navigate their own stresses?
Oh, it's well, when someone has the magic solution outside of work. So I have to go and do some sort of exercise every single day that lowers my stress. Even if I have like 1,000 emails in my inbox, I'm like, no, I got to put on my shoelaces and I got to go outside, whether it's a walk or run, a bike. And I learned that, I burn myself a heart attack, and it's all this anxiety and stress coming because we all have it. But then that's like when I have to reset,
Reset. Exercise always helps mind, body, so that, I don't know, it gives you that reset that you need. Well, definitely. I can hardly believe that we're at the point of the show where I'm going to ask you for parting advice. Even though you've shared a lot of advice all the way through, what do you want to share with the Women Worldwide Network about reaching their 3 Ps?
Be comfortable with fear and listen to your gut, and your gut will guide you. It really will.
Well, trusting your instincts. Absolutely. That is great advice. Sonia, last question, super easy. Where can people find out more about you and what you do?
Anyone can shoot me my email on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter too at Legal Muse. Find me online in social media and also at thehersheycompany.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming on the show, sharing your journey and all of your great advice. We really appreciate it. And also a big thank you to the Empowered Women event in 2021. That's April 6th, 7th, and 8th. Thank you, Susan Freeman, for sponsoring this episode of Women Worldwide. And a big thank you to all of you for showing up and for growing this network. Keep the conversations going and the feedback coming. And if you want to sign up for updates, you can certainly do that on the Women Worldwide website, womenworldwideshow.com, and subscribe to the Deirdre Breckenridge YouTube channel as well. Okay, friends, be safe. And until our next episode, stay focused, energized, and feeling empowered. Thank you.